everyone, and welcome back to Jackie's Homeroom. Today I'd like to begin with a question. Why are you learning English? Take a moment and think about it. Perhaps your first answer is, I'm learning English for school, I have to pass an exam, I'm learning for work, I want to travel. So there's lots of very practical answers and lots of great reasons to learn English. But I also wonder if there's something deeper, because after more than 25 years of working with English learners, I've noticed something interesting, and that is there's usually much more behind their answers than the practical aspects. Something deeper. People aren't learning English just to learn more grammar. It's helpful to learn grammar, but most people are actually learning English because they want a bigger life. And I'm not saying English is the only path towards that. A lot of people learn other languages because they want a bigger life. But English today is a mode of transportation in many ways to other ways and other forms of seeing reality, of seeing the world, of communicating. And so people want to open doors to more opportunities, and they want more connection and more confidence, in addition to all the practical aspects of learning the language. So that changes everything. English is not just a language, it's a vehicle, it's a doorway to new ideas, a doorway to new friendships, new cultures, and sometimes even a new version of ourselves. Have you ever noticed that when you travel somewhere new, you see yourself in a different way? Perhaps you become a more adventurous person, perhaps you become a more independent person, or a more curious person. Learning a language can often have the same effect. You discover strengths you didn't know you had. And you also discover virtues like patience, persistence, humility, courage, especially courage. Speaking a second language requires courage. It's not this like dramatic scene bravery that you need, or it's more like this just everyday courage, the courage to make mistakes, the courage to ask questions, the courage to sound imperfect, the courage to keep going when the progress seems slow. One of my favorite expressions in English is, especially when I'm teaching, is put yourself out there. And that's not always easy, but that's part of the process when you're learning a language like English, is you have to put yourself out there. You have to go out of your comfort zone and just try new things. To put yourself out there means to take risks, emotionally or socially. Maybe you join a conversation, maybe you just introduce yourself, maybe you post a comment online, and maybe you go ahead and speak English even though you're nervous. Every time you do that, you are putting yourself out there. And every time you do that, you grow. Now here's something many learners don't realize. Confidence doesn't usually come before the action. Confidence comes after the action. We often imagine that confident people feel ready, but many confident people don't feel ready at all. They simply act before they are absolutely comfortable. They put themselves out there. And that kind of looks like confidence. So you gain confidence by doing and by using it. It may be imperfect, but you're doing it bravely. Here is another phrase I love: to find your voice. Literally, it sounds like you're looking for something that you've lost. But in English, finding your voice means discovering your own unique way of expressing yourself. And I think this is one of the most beautiful parts of learning a language. At first, we borrow words, lots of them. We learn the basics. Then we borrow phrases. We start to build slowly, and I know sometimes it feels too slow, but we start to build something wonderful. We begin to express our own ideas in the other language. We suddenly are able to share our sense of humor in the other language. And then we begin to share our stories and our wisdom. We begin to find our voice. And that voice matters, not because your English must be perfect, but because what you have to say matters. I think oftentimes we underestimate how much wisdom we have from our life experience, and how much others can benefit by hearing about our stories. You have stories, you have insights, you have lessons learned through success and failure, and English gives you another way to share them. Now, the world does not need perfect speakers. The world needs more thoughtful speakers, more curious speakers, more compassionate speakers, and more people that are willing to listen to one another. One of the words that I like to apply a lot is curiosity. Curiosity comes from the Latin root word care, or attention. To be curious is to pay attention, to wonder, and to remain open. That is one of the greatest gifts of learning. Not just English. Learning anything keeps us curious. It reminds us that there's always something more to discover. A new book, a new idea, a new person, a new country, a new culture, a new conversation, a new video, a new possibility. Sometimes as we get older, we assume that this type of growth slows down, but it doesn't. We need to remain curious because there's always going to be something to learn. I think as long as you're curious, you continue to grow. And perhaps that's why you're here. Not just to learn English, but to keep growing, to keep exploring, to keep becoming. So today I would love to leave you with this simple question. What is English helping you do? Not what are you studying, not what level are you at, not how many words you know. What is English helping you to do? Is it helping you to travel? Helping you to connect to other people? Helping you to build your confidence? Helping you to understand the world we're living in? Helping you to understand yourself? Think about your answer, because that answer will be your real motivation. And when learning becomes difficult, as it sometimes will, remember that grammar is not the destination. Vocabulary isn't the destination. Even fluency is not the destination. The destination is a fuller, more richer life. And English is just one of the many paths to get you there. At Jackie's Homeroom, we not only study English through the use of it, looking at phrasal verbs and interesting words and concepts, we connect more deeply to that richer learning experience. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If you'd like, share your comments below, and if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. In the meantime, what is English helping you do? I'd really like to know. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, keep reading, and don't forget to be kind. Bye for now.